Hello and welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you're here for the first time. In this video is part 3 of the scenery of the Resident Evil the board game by Steamforged Games. It's the scenery box. This is the final part, and this is where we'll be painting up the walls, the steps, and the lift. But before we get into that, if you would like to support my channel, I will have a PayPal in the description below, and any donations on there will go into improving my channel, be it better lights for my painting, or like a better lamp or something, or better camera for when I do my battle reports. But yeah, so also let me know if you'll be interested in seeing a playthrough of the Resident Evil board game. At the moment I've got all three. I've got Resident Evil 2 and Resident Evil 3. I've only played through Resident Evil 2 thus far, but I'm quite looking forward to playing through Resident Evil 1 because it is one of the best games out there. So without further ado, let's get into it. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to go in. Oh, these were, before we start, these were base coated in Army Painter Fur Brown. Make sure you undercoat in a well ventilated area because fumes are toxic, which is bad. But before they were sprayed, they were scrubbed with hot soapy water to get any release agent off. So yeah, without further ado, let's get into it. So the first paint we're going to be using is Mournfang Brown, and this is going to be for the banisters here. These wooden stairs. So the reason I'm doing this is because if I need to go in and correct anything, I want the base, even though the brown is a nice base, I want it to still be the same colour if I have to go in and correct it. So I want to get a good coverage of Mournfang Brown here. 2 coats should do it. That's that. You don't have to be too worried about getting paint on other places because that bit in the middle is going to be red. So I will get this done and we will be back. Okay, so next up we're going to go onto these two. So for these I'm going to go in with a Zandri Dust. I want them to be sort of a stony colour, so we'll go in with that. There's a base, because that's a nice base colour. And then yeah, literally nothing special about this, literally over the entire model, like so. We'll get that done and we'll be back. Okay, so next up we're going to do one of the walls. Having a look at the main game, the actual game on GameCube or any other consoles afterwards, a lot of the walls inside the mansion have like peeling wallpaper, and I mean, if you wanted to put a lot of detail into the walls, go ahead, but I'm really not wanting to spend that much time. So I'm going to do one of these walls to demonstrate a grey, and then the other one is going to be silver, like a metal-y colour similar to these. So I'll do this one first. So for this I'm using Eshin Grey, and this is just going to be over the whole thing. This will probably need 2 coats. Same with the with everything so far has all needed 2 coats. But yeah, just slap it on and we'll be back. And finally this these the lifts and the last wall, that's going to be done in Leadbelcher. Now I'm using a bigger brush here because I don't mind if there's any brown showing on the lifts, because then it will just look like rust. But for this I want to get it into all the crevices and bits. Okay. Then yeah, so if you go in with the lifts, so it's not the end of the world if there's some brown showing, because you could pass it off as rust. Like that. But again, I'm probably going to do 2 coats, so there won't be a huge amount of brown showing. But yeah, there might be some showing in like the tiniest corners and stuff. Yeah, I'll get them finished and we'll be back. Okay, so with that dry, all the base coats were done with 2 coats, just to get it like a nice solid coverage. Next up, we're going to go the carpet itself on these stairs. We're going to go in with Khorne Red. This is just for the inside bit. This is like there's an outside bit which I think I'm going to do like a like these. I'm going to do sort of a like a bone whitish colour, so like that, and down there like that, all the way to there. You don't have to be perfect. There. I'll get that finished and we'll be back. Just a quick step, this next one. On these 2 lifts, the buttons I'm going to do red, blue, green. So for the red, I'm going to use Khorne Red. And that's just literally going to be just a dot on both of them. Like so. 1. And 2. Oh. If you hit other bits of it, you can just go back in with the previous colour and tidy up. And then the middle button, I'm going to do in Kantor Blue. Like so. That's that one. And then there's this one. This might need 2 coats as well. And finally, for the bottom button, we're going to go in with Caliban Green. This is just the bottom button. Like so. Like that. 3 buttons, 3 colours. Just gives it a little bit of variety, a little splash of colour. Like that. There you go. Yeah, so yeah, I might need 2 coats just to strengthen the colour. But yeah, let's go to the next bit. Okay, so with the red dry on the those stairs, we are going to go in with Ushabti Bone. And this is just for the edges of the carpet. So you want to keep it straight, try not to get it onto the red, but if you do, you can just go back in and correct. This is going to need 2 coats, I'd imagine. So get that done for both stairs and we'll be back. Right, okay, so that's all the base colours done on all of these. So next we're going to go in with our washes. So these are the 3 different washes I'm going to use. Reikland Fleshshade, Nuln Oil and Agrax Earthshade. And we're going to start off with Nuln Oil. So we are going to wash both walls and the elevators in Nuln Oil. So like always, give it a good shake on a fairly large brush here. And yeah, we'll just go straight in. At the end of this pot, which is fine because I've got another one, and this is just going to go all over it. Try not to let it pull too much, and especially on the flat areas you'll just want to keep pulling it away so it doesn't leave tide marks, like so. We'll finish that in a sec. And then the same with the walls. Just go straight in. A nice. Try to keep pulling the paint in the same direction. That. It's like a grimy, dirty wall now that hasn't been cleaned or looked after in quite some time. Yeah, we'll finish them and we'll be back. And next up, the stone slabs we're going to wash with Agrax Earthshade. Again, this is all over. Don't want it to pull too much. Just want to bring out the detail. Use the flat side of your brush, you can remove the amount of brush marks on it. That's so. And then this other one. Finish that, we'll be back. And finally, the two staircases. This will be done with Reikland Fleshshade. So as always, give the paint a good shake because we don't want it shiny. Right. Now this is all over. Get good coverage. Make sure you do the banister bits. That's so. This will tie in then with the other banisters that we did in the previous video, because it can be part of the same staircase now. So I'm unsure what the maps look like in the game, because as I said before, I haven't played it. But yeah, I'll finish this on both and we'll be back for the next step once it's all dried. Okay, so with that wash dried, we're going to go in with Leadbelcher on these metallic lifts and the wall, and we're just going to dry brush. So big old dry brush here, get it on there and work it into the bristles using a bit of kitchen roll or something. And then just drag it across like that. Doesn't have to be anything perfect. I've just gone over those. Try and avoid those buttons if you can. If not, just go over them again later. There you go. And the same with this one. That's great. I'll just paint it in again. Just very light dry brushing. And on the wall. Nice easy step this. These are always fun steps to do. There you go. Happy with that? Okay, so the dry brush dried on those. We're going to go in and grind it up a bit. So we're going to go Agrax Earthshade. We're going to get a fine brush here. And then we're just going to put like bits of dirt. So mainly in the corners here like that. And maybe sort of somewhere in the middle. And down the edges. Like that. To the middle bit there. You want it to be as random as possible, and then on this bit, maybe on the underneath these, on the rivets, the screws will be even. Maybe a bit of dirt on some of some of the rails. And then on the walls, you've got all the little rivets, so just want a bit of dirt. If you get too much on like I have there, just pull it away with your brush. Don't want it too dirty, not happy with that. Just rub it off with your finger if it's not perfect, so like that. And maybe some in these grooves here. Then run it down. And again the rivets, like so. This just gives the wall a little bit of almost weathering, just a little bit of character, just so it's not a plain surface. And just maybe on that surface like that, so just a bit of discoloration to the metal. There's rivets. The same going on the other side, like that. Get that finished, and we'll go on to the next step. Next, we're going to dry brush the stairs, so we're going to use Mournfang Brown for this. This is just aim for the top areas. We don't want to get any on the red carpet, red whitish carpet, creamish carpet even. So sort of just downward strokes where the light would most likely hit. I say. I'll get that done the other one and be back. And still the same brush. I'm just going to use Skrag Brown for the next layer. Get some on our brush. And this is going to be like the very top zenithal sort of highlight. So I'm going to brush very lightly here. Like that over the side of the banisters. Just catching the highest edges. Like so. Any sharp edges like that. And yeah, well, once that's dry, we'll get on to the next bit. Okay, so next step, we're going to go in with our Khorne Red. As you see, I'm using a different dry brush for each step because I'm doing it one after the other. Always make sure your brush dries fully, because otherwise it won't be a proper dry brush. It won't come out quite as how you intend. So get that Khorne Red on here, and then just over there like that. Get that done. On the next one, we'll be back. So next we're going to go in with Mephiston Red, still using the same brush. I've not washed it yet. Just get some on your brush. I think mine's dried out. I've got a little bit on there. Yeah, that's what I need. Enough that I need. And you want to focus this more to the centre and the height, and like the sharp bits like there. So do circles. Maybe dab different techniques. Like that. And same again on this one. Again for the corners, or the sharp edges I should say. Like that. Cool. And we're done with the dry brushing. We'll be back for the next stage. And next we're going to go in with Evilsunz Scarlet, and I'm going to take a fine brush here, and this is just to essentially just run out of paint too. God, these paints don't last very long. Right, so this is just the finest edges. Just run it along like that. And then I'm going to do like little lines like this to look a bit like fabric. I don't know if you can see that. Lots of little lines that are really faint. Just gives the carpet a bit of texture. I mean, you don't have to do this bit if you didn't want to. It's not. I'm not doing it all over. Just following the same sort of. I don't know if you see that. Same line, just to get a bit of texture on the flat surfacey bit. I suppose you can do some this way so it looks crisscrossed. Yeah, like that. Get that done on both of them. I'll move back. Right, so I don't know if you can see that. Bit of texture on there. That's alright. Happy with that. Next we're going to go and finish off the bone part. So we're going to go back in with Ushabti Bone. And I just want to just drag it down there like that. Just to bring out the original colour again. I don't have to go mad. So get that done on both. I'll move it back. And one final highlight for these stairs, we're going to go in with Flayed Flesh. This is just to pick up the sharpest edges. So this bit here, run it along the edges like that. Maybe in the centre. Right there. Right there. The edges there as well. There you have it. Completed stairs. I'll probably do some bits of blood on it later, but that's it for them as well. So we'll be back in a second with the stone steps. Okay, so next one, we're going to do this grey wall. So I'm just going to go in with Administratum Grey, and I'm just going to do like little edge highlights. So just along here, like so, the little rivets, like that. Then all these corners here. Like so. Just gonna put that little lines on there just to just give it a bit more detail. Like scratches on the wall and such. Don't have to do too much. Maybe a little here. Then do the same this side. And again, we're going to get next. We're going to get Agrax Earthshade and a smallish brush. And we'll just dirty up the corners and around the rivets and stuff like that, just to make it look older and a bit decrepit. And then, not even sure how well this will show up, but we shall see. But again, walls, I mean, out of all the scenery bits, I think walls are probably the least important. I mean, they're handy in the game, obviously, but the doors are quite visual, and so the stairs and stuff, even the corpses. But the walls, they're sort of just there, whereas the doors you've got to open and move through, and the corpses you have to avoid because they might stand back up. So yeah, whereas the walls, they're just, like I said, just there. Just a bit of dirt on it. Don't have to go mad. Just enough to bit discoloration. Right, we've done that. Let's move on to finishing the last of the steps. So we'll come back to these steps. So we're going to go back in with Zandri Dust, and we want to dry brush these in. So we get a big dry brush like this, a bit of paper, just get the majority off, leaving it in a little bit in the bristles, like so. Some more off there. Then we just want to highlight back up with this. Go in circular motions like that, just to make it look a bit uneven because it's stone in it, so it have to be perfect. On the back, this side, and just do that on the other one. We'll be back. Okay, so next we're going to use the same brush. We're going to go in with Ushabti Bone, and again, same again, just drying it off on a bit of tissue paper, so there's only a little bit left in the bristles, and we're just going to go over this in sort of a circular motion. And stone is sort of all uneven anyway, so it doesn't have to be perfect. Like with here, you see it's gone in the crack, so we'll just go in a minute with the previous it was washed with, which was Agrax Earthshade, and just sort of tidy that up. So we get that done and we'll be back. Oops, sorry. And then final highlight on this dry brush is Flayed Flesh. Again, same brush as used before it's washed. And same process, just dry it off on a bit of tissue paper. For this stage, get as much of it off as you can, because we only want this to be a very subtle sort of highlight. So then we just, especially if you drag it up here, we just want to catch just the very top edges, like so. A little bit on top, just catch any raised bits. Yeah, like that. And then same again on this one. Like that. Like that. There you go. Okay, so you could, if you wanted to, leave these stone steps there, but I'm actually going to go in and do a little bit extra. Since these are out in the gardens, I'm going to do a little bit of like plant growth and moss and stuff like that. So for this, I'm going to start off with the technical Astrogranite, and you could use anything, maybe PVA mixed in with like fine sand or something. We just want the bumpy texture. And what we're going to do is we're just going to get this and just put it in randomly like that. This would look like moss, like the edges, like that, corners. This will be painted in with a green up here. It comes back bumpy, which will look like a bit like moss. And around some of these cracks here, like that. Nearly done there. Like that, and creeping up. Not to go mad. Just a little bit on each one, maybe over here, coming down. Just gives it that extra little bit of detail and variation. Draws the eye then. Like so. I mean, like I said, you could use paint mixed in with sand. Just go straight in with a green if you wanted to. Mix a bit of, if you've got like a spare bit of green, mix it in with a bit of sand on a palette. That would probably work. But I've done this before and I've used Astrogranite for it. Right. I'll finish that on both and we'll be back. Okay, so with those that Astrogranite dry, we're going to go in with Agrax Flesh and we're just going to fill in the grey bits. It's green. We're down on your wet palette and just fill it in where you can. This will probably need 2 coats. Doesn't have to be perfect. Just as long as you get rid of that grey undertone there. Like so. I'll get that finished on both and we'll be back. Okay, so that's the green dried on there. Next we're going to go in with Athonian Camoshade, and this is just to give the green a bit of shading, a bit of depth, and we're just going to put it on all over the green like that. Don't worry too much if it goes over onto the stone colour, because it just ties it in then. Like so. We want to do this for all the green sections on here. There. We'll get that finished and we'll be back. Okay, so those have been washed. Still slightly drying, but the next step I'm going to go in with is with a sponge. And I'm going to go back to the original colour, which is Agrax Flesh. And I'm just going to sort of stipple this on as highlights, trying to keep it as round as possible. So I want to get rid of most of the paint off there, so pause, dropped it, try and get another bit. There we go. Right. Use my fingers this time. Right. So yeah, get as much of it off as possible, like so. And then I'm just gonna stipple it back on. Just trying to be as random as possible. Like so. Doesn't have to be perfect. And then same again this one. Yeah. And now the final step, we're going to get Mephiston Red. Give it a shape. We're just going to dab like little flowers onto it. Just at random points. No. Bit of greenery. Bit of life in this undead nightmare. You can use different colours for this. blues and yellows. Yeah, just gives it a bit of variation. Little flowers. Little buds. Like that. Yeah. I'm going to do a couple of dabs of Kantor Blue as well. Like little dots. So signify flowers. Yeah. And there you have it. So they're pretty much done now. You can leave it at that if you want. I'm going to take it one more step further, and I'm going to put a bit of blood splatter on. So for this, I'm going to use blood for the blood god. I'm going to utilise toothbrush and a bit of card, or just something firm, like a bit of card or a bit of plastic, something like that. So I've just got like a bit of cut plastic. So what I'm going to do is blood for the blood god. So I'll get that on my brush, give it a shake, get it on my toothbrush. Too much, like so, like that, and then with this you just go it says blood splatter. Put a bit of tissue down like I have, just in case it splatters somewhere you don't want to, and on the walls. Yeah, like that. And then just a little bit on these stairs here. Doesn't have to be, I think, too major, just enough to give a bit of colour. There you have it. Bit of blood splatter here and there. And yeah, so that is it for that's the final part of the scenery of the Resident Evil board game complete. As I said before, if you would like to support the channel, please do. I'll have a PayPal link to the description. Anything on there will be very much appreciated, and it will go into improving my videos probably 1,000-fold with new camera or better lighting for painting videos. But yeah, thanks again for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the future. Happy painting. See you again soon.